Welcome back to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. It's been a while since we've done one of these. There's lots happened in the last couple of weeks from AEW. Obviously, this is our collaboration show with the FTR Facebook page, and that means only one thing: a man across the pond. Probably, I don't know if it's cold over there as it is over here, but we'll find out. Mr. Gary Joe, welcome. How are you doing?
Well, it's not too bad. It's kind of damp today and very unusual. A couple days. Yesterday was close to 52. Today is in the 30s, but the day before, mind you, want to talk about the chill in the air. Without a wind chill, probably below 5. It was pretty cold.
Well, we had Storm Dara over here, so we've had 80-mile-an-hour winds and a lot of rain. So yeah, we've had it quite difficult last few days, but the wind seems to have died off right now, thankfully. Anyway, enough of the weather talk. Let's just go to AEW. I mean, there's been a lot going on. We'll talk. Let's just before we get into stuff, let's just go over the overview of the C2, the Continental Classic. And I'll be honest at first, and I will say at first, and I'm always happy to say when I feel as if I'm being proved wrong. So there's the first thing. When I first saw the Continental Classic tables, or whatever you want to call them, I was a little bit disappointed. I was like, I knew Okada was going to be in it from last year because he won it. That's fair. But then there was like three others, I think, returning, and initially I was like, that's kind of nearly half the bracket when you know give or take one or two. And I was a bit worried. And I should never have been worried because as usual, when you think about when you always have you always have a bit of if you have an issue with something or you feel a bit disappointed about something, especially when it's AEW, it never ceases to let you down in terms of what goes on in the ring. And overview so far, three sort of times in there. How do you feel it's been so far?
Oh, this is one thing I really like about you, Adam, is your overview on some certain things, like certain critiques that you think would be better. And I'm with you, man. Like I kind of wish they would have done, like somebody like Malachi Black instead
Mm,
of Mark Briscoe,
yeah.
or even somebody else that could actually been different. Like nothing against Brody King. Maybe it should have been Buddy Matthews because he's having a good run right now.
Yeah.
Well, to me, I feel like they're planting the seeds of him for a good run before they get to Australia here. But just like you, man, they really have really succeeded in my expectations. Like my initial thought was, all right, well, let's see. And my gosh, I made my thoughts on it so far. I posted something on the page last night. A lot of people have actually really liked the post. Um, it's just unpredictability,
Yeah.
outcomes to highlighted matches. It's just the C2 is actually very intriguing this year as well. And I think all of us know the thing that was very interesting as well is the rule changes.
Mm.
And I think that is what I really was very unsure about in the beginning as well because of the rule change. But it just feels like these people that need to actually win are the ones that are winning, which again, we're going to talk about one of those matches from last night. So, but yeah, it's really been really, really good in my opinion. Way better than last year so far.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's been great so far this year. As I said, even with my reservations at the start, which they've kind of moved away. One of them in particular that has had a really solid start is Kyle Fletcher. Off the back of a great victory over Shelton Benjamin over on Dynamite this week. Again, really impressive. I like the fact with this one. What I did like about Shelton and Kyle, and maybe this is maybe what some people didn't like about it, but that's a good thing. I like that it started slow. Sometimes in the Continental Classic, they're just straight out the block. They're just bang, bang, 150 miles an hour. What I liked about his match with Shelton was it was like a steady build to what was a great match and a great victory for Kyle Fletcher and AEW positioning one of the top heels currently in the business in the right way. But it was such a great match for me. as a story, which is, as we all know, sometimes they get a lot of issues with storytelling. I felt that match had everything in the right place, and perhaps because of the experience of Shelton Benjamin.
Hmm. I very much agree with that. And, when you're starting out slow like that, this is the first time that they really have been in the ring together. So they're trying to get that feel into the ring with each other. And it felt like, and again, this is one thing that I like about AEW sometimes is the realism that goes into the match. And yeah, like it was slow paced, sure. And again, you're right. Some people just don't like that. But then again, these are the same people that don't like the acrobatic high flyers, right? Because AEW has really amazing talent for that. Um, but yeah, and then him beating Shelton Benjamin, I can't stress this enough too. Like I love Shelton in this tournament because just like the veterans in this tournament, they're just so helpful making these young talents like I'm just gonna say it, Kyle Fletcher, he better win. It's just Sheldon made him look so good.
He
I
did.
love that.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I would again. I will say when I feel as if I've been wrong when AEW have proved me wrong. I was a bit same with the Hurt Syndicate, the Hurt Business. I kind of thought, well, do they need this? They've got a I suppose in a sense, because they got this young, hungry roster, I was kind of concerned that perhaps bringing in experience may not have been a good thing in a silly way, because sometimes you do need that experience. And what I felt that all three of them have brung in a very short space of time, MVP, Bobby Lashley, and Shelton. And it's not necessarily what they do on screen and what you see, what we see weekly, but it's what I suppose the broader business sees, which is a far maybe more of assistance to those younger guys. And maybe that slowing down thing, what I was saying at the start, perhaps is them saying, look, less is more. We can get to those exciting bits, but let's pace it out a little bit and make these matches actually, because obviously these high flying ones and these really, as you call them, acrobatic or whatever, are very impressive and they're very fun to watch. But I like the way this match was set up just because of it was done, I think, in the right ways. And those experienced heads like Lashley, like Shelton, like MVP will bring that to AEW.
Couldn't agree more. Perfectly said. I can't counter with that. That was good.
Well, in that case, let's move straight on. We had the Hook stuff that's still continuing, and we'll find that they obviously put the concerto to Hook's hand. We'll see how that develops. It'd be interesting. I think we'll talk more Christian Cage stuff, but you're going to have a point on that, so go.
I do. And I think that's when we see Taz's return at Hammerstein Ballroom because of the legacy that evolves around Taz in
Mm.
that venue. I seriously will pop so good for that. Like, I don't care if he just goes in the ring and saves, Hook, and he does, I can't think of the finisher. It's
Oh, the choke, the Tasmission.
yeah.
I can't remember the Japanese version. Joey Styles used to say the actual name of the finisher when he used to say, "Oh, he's put the Tasmission, he's put the," and I can't. And again, I don't know what it is. So
But yeah, so I think this will be like a no disqualification match because Nick Wayne is known for his hardcore style, and the Hammerstein Ballroom
mm,
would really get a good moment for him because, like it or not, people can say what they want about Nick Wayne. He was phenomenal in GCW. He was
yeah,
phenomenal in the indie scene, and the fact that these two, this is where I get really happy with Tony's booking sometimes. Like the fact that Hook is what 22,
yeah,
23,
yeah.
and Nick Wayne being only 19 years old, they're fulfilling their dream in a legendary venue. He Tony thinks about the stars of tomorrow, and I love that. So I'm very very hopeful this is where Taz makes his return. I would like to see that moment for him
Maybe
and
he
Hook.
won't. Maybe he won't come alone.
Yeah,
There's more than one person in the patriarchy, right? So maybe that we'll see what happens now. I actually good point what you actually brung in there about the ballroom and AEW making a good point about these kind of smaller intimate venues actually. And I thought this week Dynamite and Collision, it wasn't just because and I think when you're in those Collision done that one in Texas, didn't they? When it was all sold out,
Yes.
weeks, and it had that great. I just thought those intimate venues that when you've packed them out, when they sell out, it
Mhm.
can be better than having 4 or 5 thousand people in a bigger arena. They don't feel. And I think what Tony's done is he's pushed the reset button on that. And I know there's a production thing, and they have to have a certain amount of space for the Tron and everything else. But what Tony has done, and I do like this, and I'll always, I call out the negatives and I will always call out the positives as well. One of the things that Tony has done that I think is great is he's listened to that and he's gone, right, okay, let's do this. And what it's done, it's not only, I think, helped the noise and when you watch Dynamite, but I also think the product as a whole feels a lot more better because of them stadium moves.
I couldn't agree more, dude. Like when I was talking to Josh, actually the founder of Cruising with Kayfabe, one thing that I like the flow what AEW was going to be doing, going into 2025. You're not going to those bigger than life arenas that
Mm.
AEW has done in the past. They're going to, go to these mid-sized venues like, 3, 4,000, 5,000, seat attendees. Great. Fill that. You want to earn that trust back with those wrestling fans. And again, you are right. Tony does listen to the constructive criticism, and that's one thing I like about him. Um, by listening to those fans. And so when you're doing those smaller venues for the weekly shows, then you're going to the bigger arenas, stadiums, whatever, for those other wrestling shows. You know,
Mm.
and I think when you're balancing them out, you're going to earn that fan base back, and you're really getting those bigger than life arenas for those people to enjoy those pay-per-views because people can disagree all they want. AEW produces probably the best pay-per-views that I've seen in years, you know.
Mm.
And I don't think that trend's gonna stop. Like that's why when sometimes my brother, he gets a little complacent being like, Gary, is it worth ordering this AEW pay-per-view? Yes. It is probably worth your money, pal. And he's watched AEW every week since I believe July of this year, and he has not been disappointed with one pay per view, and that makes me happy. So, um, yeah, I really like the direction they're going into 2025. And
Yeah, definitely so. And you're right though, because it's still not a problem them having them because the pay-per-views always do it. You always see 10, 11, 12,000, wherever they go. Obviously in the UK when they had Wembley, you had the 70, the 40, 50,000, 70,000, 80,000 all in. So they do them well. So I think it's great. And again, I do like the fact that he's taken not necessarily criticism, but an observation, and he's actually looked at it himself rather than just listened to the stuff. He's probably had a look and gone, well, yeah, let's do that. And I think it's great. Moving on though, Mercedes Monet. So what's happened in these last few weeks that we haven't done it is she's got rid of Camille, or Camille's got rid of her, whatever way you want to look at it. Which I think, hallelujah for that. But and again, like I said before, when somebody has a good, when somebody does things great, I'll equally as praise as I will offer a criticism or a negative. And I've been very critical of Mercedes Monet, and probably, I think fairly so, to be quite honest. I don't think there's anyone that's going to disagree with that. However, the match with Chris Statlander was absolutely phenomenal, and both of them played a part in that. So there was where I say that well done to Mercedes. Great match, really good. I think they had really great chemistry, those two. I'm hoping it's not necessarily the end, but she got rid of Camille, and now she's got another issue again in the form of somebody who I know you're doing most improved, right, on your end of year awards. I haven't got round to doing that yet. Anna Jay, who I believe it's this week. I think she's got Anna Jay on the Dynamite. I feel there's a title change coming here, and I think maybe Camille will cost Mercedes the title, but I don't think there's many people that are going to disagree that say Anna Jay doesn't deserve it should it happen this week.
one thing that Winter is Coming is known for is the element of surprises.
Yes.
And I think this is absolutely the time. Like, when Anna lost against Mariah May for a future world you know title shot for the women, I'm like, oh man, what does this mean now? But again, this is where people need to remember this is actually a storyline that's been going on for the last couple months because Anna did say before she got into the Grand Prix that she's going to come back for Mercedes' title. And that's exactly what they're doing here. But yes, please, Tony, listen to this podcast and give it and listen to us. Yes, give the title to Anna. And, it's not like Mercedes is going to be let down. She's still the New Japan Strong Champion anyway. So,
Yeah.
yes, please make it happen.
Yes. We'll see this week, hopefully. So when we come on this time next week, we will be hopefully having a conversation saying Anna Jay. But again, look, kudos to Mercedes. And I know that you loved the match with Statlander as well. And like I said before, I will always praise and critique as well as I praise. And they do both deserve great, great praise for the match they put on.
Let me ask you, Adam, which match was better for Stat? Was it the one with Willow at All Out, which I thought was amazing?
It was good.
Or this one?
Oh, that's a good one. I'm actually going to go with this one. I feel as if this one, I don't know why. I really enjoyed the one with Willow. I just think it brought more Mercedes, the more what everyone's expecting of Mercedes out. Whereas Willow and Stack, they were always going to deliver. There was never a question that them two weren't going to deliver. What I did think was I wasn't sure going into the Mercedes match whether her and Chris Statlander would work. So I'm going to say this one because I think it brought out the side of Mercedes that everyone kind of knows is there, but we haven't quite seen yet.
I agree. So, no disagreement on my end, my friend.
Excellent. I'm glad so far. So far, so good. Dynamite Diamond Ring this week as well on Dynamite. Funnily enough, well, the Battle Royal to determine who's going to go against. Well, near enough go against MJF at World's End, and quite fittingly, it comes down to two. Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly. I think we kind of knew where that was going, but it was still these battle royals are always fun. Another thing that AEW do well is when they do a battle royal, it's generally a load of fun. A load of stuff normally happens in there. Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly did win it. They go on to this week again one-on-one, which is going to be absolutely incredible, to be quite honest with you, having knowing these two going past Ring of Honor and you go all the way through NXT and what have you. And if you know all that, you'll know how good these two are going to be. It seems to going to be like we're going to go into World's End, in my opinion, and I'm sure you'll probably agree with Adam Cole, MJF, and it's kind of going to come full circle finally after about a year of getting to the stage that we need to get to of Adam Cole, MJF.
I think so too. I mean, it's nothing against taking away from O'Reilly. I think he's great and all. I'm glad that he's in this story, but what is going to be the payoff? I think the payoff needs to be more with MJF and Adam Cole. But what MJF said on Dynamite, though, it was pretty accurate. Like, maybe we would see the brochachos one more time. Like, I want to see a kangaroo clothesline or kick or whatever.
Kangaroo kick, wasn't it? Drop kick
Australia for Grand Slam. Like, I could see Adam Cole turning heel. And I know that sounds probably a little rash because what was the point of him turning face anyway, right?
Yeah.
Well, I just maybe because I had that misfeeling with the brochachos of MJF and Cole because that was really entertaining for me. One of the best, unexpected tag teams that you thought would never work, but I could be wrong. But yes, eventually this story needs to end for sure, and maybe it is going to be at World's End. Maybe that's where Wardlow makes a comeback. Who knows? And then that way,
or does Kyle O'Reilly?
Oh, maybe gods. Yeah. I mean, I miss Wardlow being back, man. Like he's cleared. Come on, let's get it going.
Let's get him back. Let's get him back for sure. One of the things that again, we're seeing a character change coming up, and that character change is going to be Max Caster. Now, obviously, Swerve decimated him on Dynamite, which I think is 100% the right thing. Sometimes when you see squash matches on two kind of established stars, you're a bit worried, but Swerve was kind of beaten quite convincingly by Bobby Lashley a couple of weeks ago. So when it come to Max Caster, Max done that usual rap, and he's getting edgier, which is great. Swerve decimated him, but I don't think it's going to be too long before Max, and maybe even because someone that's also been kind of a bit heelish, shall we say, in interviews is Ricochet. And those two could potentially join Bobby Lashley's faction, and the Hurt Syndicate will become like a Hurt Army in a couple of weeks.
That would be interesting with Ricochet. I mean, he needs something, and I'm glad that he's in the tournament. But what's next for Ricochet? So I could see that point with him maybe going to the Herd Army, as you like to call it now. I'm going to take that. We're going to trademark that for hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. Uh, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. I could see that for sure with Caster. The fact that Swerve beat him in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Not even, it was meant to be that way. I like the result, if I could be honest. So, and that's getting Max Caster one step closer for being a heel. He's controversial, obviously on the mic. So, and honestly, I think he has really grown to be a damn good wrestler too.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't see Ricochet yet, but I really see Caster for sure.
Yeah, I think so. I think Caster's the next one that's kind of moving up to that. I mean, we did have a little bit more on Dynamite surrounding Moxley, but we'll save that for Collision as well, because I feel as if that's kind of a whole thing that's happening. We kind of know a little bit what's going on at World's End in terms of the four that we're assuming it's going to be a four-way. So we'll get into that in a minute. What I do love is that everything kind of moves, because we know Rampage is finishing in a couple of weeks' time. Unfortunately, that's just part of the thing. I know you're doing a live watch along Rampage.
Yes, that I am.
Or the final Rampage. But I do love the fact that they continued the Continental Classic on Rampage. Sometimes you could be, it's only an hour long, so you have to, be very sort of, limited to what you can do. Okada and Briscoe had a brilliant match. And I thought it was fantastic. It was just a great opener on Rampage. Sorry, but I do want to get to something else, and it's only because we had to say that because that was the match that kicked off the show. Jericho and what's going on now with the learning tree. Now, this kind of more happened on Ring of Honor, and I really hope Ring of Honor gets sorted out so people can watch. I know you can stream it and whatnot. But you're going to be, some people are going to be saving $9.99 over here in the UK very, very soon. Or you already have actually, because that's free now until the end of the Netflix thing starts. So if you want to, you can TNA plus it, or you can stream it on Ring of Honor. Anyway, going from what I was talking about. So Chris Jericho's challenge now has been accepted by Matt Cardona, of all people. Cardona coming back. He was in AEW briefly before. What do you make of that? Because I'm just someone that's coming in. You're a great big AEW fan, but someone like Cardona showing up here, everyone's going to be talking about it. Are you excited for him and Jericho? Or is it going to be the start of Cardona signing for AEW, or is this just a one-off or a couple of appearance job?
If I can be very honest, we will be very honest, because that's what we do here on HTTP. I feel it's just Tony wanting to be like, listen, I'm not here to make your company upset, and I want to bring Matt Cardona in, make everything civil, make everything fine. I don't know if it's that. I mean, that's just backstage stuff that I don't like to grasp into. But that being said, I think, unfortunately, it might be a one-off. And I think what this is going to lead to is, you said it, I think this is going to be Ring of Honor getting TV time. I really, really do. I think that's why they maybe removed Rampage.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of possibilities going up in the air with Ring of Honor. And plus, Hammerstein Ballroom, you're getting that pay-per-view on there that you want to make a good impression for maybe your TV network. So
yeah,
it should be very interesting to see what they do with this. But to tell you the truth, I would not be upset if Matt Cardona wins at all. Like, I know it's a short title reign for Jericho, and then people will be like, well, this title's meaningless and all this stuff. You know how people like to spin their narrative there, sir. So but yeah, I don't think Cardona is going to win. But let's say, hey guys, maybe it will happen. Who knows? Uh,
You had to get that in there, didn't you? You just had to get that in
yes,
there.
yes, and I want to see a death match with these two. By the way,
Oh,
I really do. Cardona is obviously just awesome for those, and Jericho will look gassed, and it would just, I don't know, just for some reason that just sounds really good. But I mean, maybe they will. I mean, Hammerstein Ballroom again. I think of ECW. So
yeah. And pizza commercial, ideally placed again in between the
yeah,
bit Jericho gets cut. The rest of the Rampage was all about the Continental Classic, really. We had Daniel Garcia pick up his first victory against the Beast Mortos. Still waiting for his masks, by the way, to come on sale. I've not seen them yet.
hey, they're getting there. At least they got a Harley hologram mask.
Ah, mate, I was going to talk, and we're going to get onto that. I'm going to mention that actually before we wrap up on that. I need to talk about that. That's brilliant. The Vendetta did get a victory, but we'll go to the main event. So the main event on Rampage this week was Ricochet and Commander. Now, Commander is now in the Continental Classic because Juice Robinson unfortunately broke his foot or something along those lines in the first match that he had, so he couldn't have it. These two, I mean, look, when I heard the word Ricochet and I heard the word Commander in the same sentence, it was just like, when's it on? Let me. And they didn't fail to deliver what was obviously Rampage is coming to an end, but that is one of the great main events that Rampage. I think it's one of the best main events Rampage has done.
Yeah, I mean, it's really up there. I thought that match was phenomenal. My favorite main event to date on Rampage is probably Tay so Anna Jay and Ty Mello against Penelope Ford and
Yeah.
yep, that other person. So sorry, I can't think of her name. Allie, the bunny.
Oh, the
So
bunny. Yes. Was it like a street fight or something like that when it went all over the place?
yes,
Yes.
that match was phenomenal. I really liked that one, but maybe that's just for the women because for the men, this one was really up there for sure. I very much agree. And I'm with you. You know, when Commander got in there for a replacement, I was iffy. I'm not going to lie, but you need to have a replacement somehow. And this is what Ricochet needs. He needs to be in matches like this, show everybody what he's about, and that's what it did. And the same thing goes for Commander.
Yeah. And it wasn't Commander's only match because he was on Collision this week.
That is true.
Getting these things. I mean, again, these things, the Continental Classic always, we saw like Brody King last year, and I can't remember, there was one other guy that we saw last year that really come out of the Continental Classic, you know, with a ton more of, not to say respect, that's the wrong word, but Brody King, we never saw a lot in singles action. You just saw how good that he is. Commander we know is good anyway, but Darby, I mean, he took a lot of unnecessary. Every time Darby gets in the ring, I'm kind of worried that he's going to kill himself because in the nicest possible way, because the guy takes bumps like anything. I mean, he went through I think you die for the ring, went through a chair this week. He was doing so much, but he's the type of guy that just he's kind of, when someone says to me AEW, I just go Darby Allin because that's just it's just the stuff that he does. I remember the match with Jeff Hardy when he was like, I think Jeff may have flew off the ladder onto about 19 chairs that were on the outside and missed. And but
Yeah.
yeah, but anyway, Darby picking up the victory in this. But again, he just epitomizes AEW is just like Darby Allin for me.
Oh, absolutely, dude. I mean, he's really the heart and soul of AEW. Like one of the best originals that this company could ever be thankful to have.
Yeah.
Very much.
He's brilliant, and he picks up a win. Next one's actually quite interesting because we were talking about Willow earlier, and I
Mm-hmm.
think sometimes some matches for me, when you just hear, Serena Deeb on the other side, you're just like, it's gonna, just because of who it's Serena Deeb actually coming over here in a couple of weeks for Uprising at Rev Pro. Forgive me, I did send you the poster. I can't remember who it was.
Oh yeah, I've been meaning to post that. I'm sorry.
No, don't worry. I can't remember who it was that she's facing now. It's gone. Whoever it is, maybe I don't know if it's Danny Luna. It's not Danny. Anyway, it's somebody. Let's just say it's someone. Um,
It is Kanjai. Kanjai.
oh, Kanji. Yes, can she do it? Yes, she can. That's the one. Yeah.
At least you correct me with that name.
Sorry, it's the same thing. It's just it's the way American pronounces the way that we pronounce it. And so you're probably right in a long way. Anyway, the match itself, Willow obviously picked up the win, but Serena Deeb, just every time she gets in there, it's just I don't know. She just makes a match that you think is going to be great better than great.
Mm. Serena Deeb is a professor for a reason. I think she's great at her craft, no doubt. She really carried herself well against Willow. Um, just shows she has a lot of power too. Like her finisher putting on Willow is not really a easy task. So that was a really good showing from her. I agree.
It was indeed, and Willow moves to face Jamie Hayter in the. I mean,
Um,
jeez. Okay.
I
Um,
mean, I can predict that. Mm, Willow's gonna win, but that's just because I see the return of Julia.
okay.
I mean that's what I see. Again, winter is coming is known for surprises.
Yeah.
That's what I see. Lights go out. No, you don't want to do that. Like, oh man, I don't know. I want Jamie to move on more than Willow because Jamie deserves it to be in, the show in Japan. But maybe that leads to that. I don't know. But oh man, that's going to be a good match. I can't wait for it.
It is. It's going to be an incredible match. I'm kind of looking forward to it myself. But Thunder Rosa wants a match because she's 2-0 against Mina and Mariah. With this eventually, is this just eventually leading to the return that we all want of the week? Well, two. There's two returns. Julia Hart's one, and we've already you covered that off very well. Julia Hart, I can't wait for her to come back. But the second one in the women's division that we can't wait for is Tony Storm. Will she be timeless though, or will it be Tony Storm?
I mean, she already has an axe. Maybe she will come back as a cosplaying as a caveman or even a lumberjack. I don't know. Um, who knows with Tony Storm?
You come back as
Gosh,
Tony Storm from The Shining. Here's Tony.
oh my gosh, that would be so cool. Like I would love it. Uh, yeah, I mean, it's for sure. Like she's when she comes back, she's going to be champion. And again, I think that's going to be at another show here in February 5th, Grand Slam, Australia. Makes sense. Um, but when she returns, that pop is going to be great. And what did Tony Storm do when she took this time off? Making Mariah May that much more into a star that she actually is. So
Yeah.
those are the two women's matches for next week on Dynamite. I just realized that we're getting two women's matches on Dynamite, folks. Awesome. And those are really good matches with Jamie Hayter and, Willow Nightingale. Then, of course, Mariah May and Shakira. So that is going to be really, really good for all those. And the whole thing with Thunder Rosa, yeah, I just think it's just, Mercedes needs another match. I would like to see Thunder Rosa hold the title again, but I just don't think it's the time right
Probably not the right time anyway. There's too much going on in the women's division for Thunder Rosa to
now.
get
Yeah.
the championship at this stage. Now we're going to talk John. Is there in the week that goes by that Moxley and the crew don't try and I said earlier on about Darby killing himself, but I mean it was trying to kill everyone this week on AEW. They was trying to take out Hangman, Jay White, Orange Cassidy. They then tried to pour a chemical substance, for Christ's sake, into Orange Cassidy's eyes or whatever it is. I swear this guy, like, he's not like on the FBI's most wanted list yet, is he? Moxley, alongside Adam Page and everybody else that, But anyway, who stops them? Now FTR are involved. And this is going to be like I don't know if you wanted the best tag team, probably arguably other than the Outrunners, of course, on AEW involved in this FTR to get involved with Moxley. Where we're going to probably at World's End is Moxley, Cassidy, Page, and Jay White. It's probably going to be the four that end it. But now they're adding FTR in the mix. Another interesting twist to the tale as to what the hell is going on with Moxley and his clock.
And that's the beauty of the storyline. Sure, it's just a tiny bit, but it really picks up that momentum, that much more because I like the beat down with, John Moxley on Wednesday and then John getting his redemption on Saturday. And then, like you said, the twist with FTR. to tell you the truth, that was unexpected, and I like that. You need to actually have somebody that meshes well, and easily FTR will really be up there. Um, I don't know what's going to happen at World's End, and I don't know about anybody else, but this has more intriguing development, more than honestly MJF and the revealed devil himself, Adam Cole. Because I think at that time it kind of felt predictable. But now, when you hear Mox talk, more and more it seems like there's somebody really behind this, not just Moxley.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been saying in the beginning that it could be Shane McMahon revealing himself. Have you noticed it or two? Like, yeah, sure, the belt's just in a suitcase. Millionaires like suitcases. Shane McMahon. Um, I think you need to spark a very, intriguing audience starting out this simulcasting on, Max and everything. So you really want to get red hot starting the new year in 2025. I'm not saying Shane McMahon's the answer, but you need to do an angle that really, really is surprising. So um, I I'm very excited to see what happens, man, here in the next, hard to believe, 20 days.
No, no.
World's End is going on. So it's going to be really interesting.
I felt that World's End last year was very intriguing. So obviously we had the Devil storyline and all of that stuff. I just got a feeling that the end of World's End this year, obviously you've hit the nail on the head, needs to have some big ramifications because the next time they come on, you rightfully say it's the new deal, I think kicks in as well on the 6th of January, whenever it is, or not 6th, that's the Monday, the Wednesday before. How World's End goes off the air is going to play massive importance to the first episode of Dynamite of the new year. And I'm really looking forward to that and intrigued as to what's next with Mox, and we'll see on that. But it's an exciting time for sure. Let's head off. One of the last things, we had the Emi Sakura match as well against Mina on Continental Classic on Collision. But the end of the Collision this week, was the victory for Mark Briscoe. Finally, quite a surprise against Daniel Garcia. Daniel Garcia's had a strongish start to the Continental Classic. But if you wanted someone, if there's like I think he was in this last year as well, and he was kind of like, we kind of want him to win, but we know he's not going to win. But it was so nice for Briscoe to get an early 3 points on the board in this.
Yeah, dude, this is exactly what I mean. Where it comes to this tournament, it's so unpredictable. I mean, when this match was announced, I'm not going to lie, I was like, Garcia, he's just going to pick up these wins to, look good, and I'm very happy for him. I did not expect Mark Briscoe to win. I honestly didn't. I thought he was just going to be the legend slash veteran, or even a legend in this business, gosh, that he was just going to be the guy to take the pinfalls, him or Beast Mortis. But no, I mean, him picking up the win over Danny was a really nice touch. Very happy. And even if he only gets that one win, I'm just glad I was against, somebody like Daniel Garcia. But yeah, it was a really, really nice ending to a good show.
It was indeed. And obviously, as you say, winter is coming this week. I believe our good bruv is going to be in action this coming week against. There you go. If you want a reason to watch AEW, here's the reason: Ospreay against Castagnoli. I think that's pretty much the best way to end, right? That's who he's got, right? I am right in that.
Yeah, that should be really, really good. And, if you want to run down the card, Adam, go ahead.
I was trying to find it.
Oh, here, I posted actually last night here.
I was hoping you would have it, and it looks like you're not going to disappoint because you're going to come to card now.
Well, we have Mariah May and Shira.
Yeah.
What is wrong with you today? Mina. I was going to call her Mina. Shira Kawa. I guess, like my good friend here said, Castagnoli and Will Ospreay. We got Ricochet and Brody King.
Yeah.
Colin O'Reilly.
Yeah.
Pac and Moxley versus Jay White and Orange Cassidy.
That's going
Wow,
to be
that is
crazy.
going to be fun. Oh, and then I made my mistake. I apologize. The Jamie Hayter and Willow match is actually on Collision.
Ah, that's fine. It's still Winter is Coming Collision, right? That's still going to be called Winter is Coming, right?
So, but yeah, that sounds like a really good card.
It's going to be really good, really strong this week on AEW. Looking forward to it as ever. And obviously, we'll be back next week to do it. We'll review all this stuff as well. But before we get to all of that, you've got yourself a little helper. You got like your Santa, and you now got a Santa's little helper on your page, right? Why don't you just talk about that briefly for a second now?
Yeah, so this great co-admin, it's really relieving the, stress, away, and very excited for that. Got a lot of good things going on for, follow the revolution, and we're going to be supporting our love and support for the indies when it comes to the beginning of the year. We're going to do something great that I think a lot of people will like, and that's going to be the honorable international follower of the week. Now, I mentioned this to somebody already, and what that's going to do is if you want to send me a video or if you want to type up an article, what made you fall in love with AEW, I'm going to be posting it, and I will certainly potentially make another Twitter account. I don't have Twitter account no more. Too much drama on there as of late, but if I do bring it back, I'm going to include it by tagging AEW and Tony Khan for that. So that way, maybe they can see your reasons why you like AEW. Now, what I mean by this being the international follower of the week is once you send your reasons why, it is not only me publishing it on Twitter, if that goes there, and Facebook. For those 4 individuals throughout the month, I'm going to pick one winner, and then that winner actually gets a prize from me directly. Just a lot going on in 2025. I'm not going to spoil that right now. I'm just very excited. But if you guys want to vote for some great year-end awards, go on to Follow the Revolution. Thousands and thousands and thousands of votes already right now. I mean, I'm blown away there, Adam, with the amount of votes for each category. I mean, I'm not just saying like 2,000 votes for each category. It's like literally, I want to say one that I saw last night was like over 9,000.
Jeez.
So it's really exciting, and thank you very much for your support as always, Adam, and everybody that tunes in. Follow the revolution from here. So
Indeed. Get on there. Get voting for the end of year awards as well. Make sure you all do. I'm going to the land of extreme this week, actually, on the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. I'm talking to, well, the man that basically was, well, kind of owned ECW with Paul Heyman. So, yes, I haven't got the wise man, unfortunately.
oh,
Damn.
I know who you're talking about too, and I can't believe I did not post that. You got my word, I will post it.
I'm going to be talking to Todd Gordon this week on the show. That's going to be very interesting to see. I've said it's from Eastern to Extreme, but we're going to talk all things. We're not just going to go there. We're going to go for everything. But there's one other guest, and that is AEW related, that I have coming up very soon. He's a returning guest, actually, because we had him before he signed for AEW. Now we've got him as he is now in now in AEW or Ring of Honor. That man is Zach Knight. So he will be coming on very, very soon to kind of follow on the story, which we're really looking forward to having that coming on very soon as well. Fuego del Sol as well, another former AEW guy. Seems to be a lot of AEW guys coming on in a minute, is coming on as well. And we're hitting the road. We're going to 3 independent shows in December, starting next weekend when we go to actually down the road for me to actually the RCWA, which is run by Brub's mum.
Well, oh, okay.
So we're going to go see Mrs. Mama Osprey next weekend as RCWA presents aptly known 12 Bumps of Christmas. Will be the show we're going to see. First one. And then a couple of days later, we go to Riot Cabaret, where Thunder Rosa was. I think she may even be there this time. I can't quite remember. we're going to be seeing that for our first time. So a big thanks to the Ministry of Wrestling podcast for sorting us out and help getting us tickets. So our first Riot Cabaret Wrestling show. I have no clue what this is all about, but I've heard some great reviews on it. And then after Christmas, hitting the turnbuckle and Ignite go on the road. We're going to Prodigy Pro Wrestling to maybe do some scouting, shall we say, for names. And as you posted, thankfully, on your post when I posted it, we've also bringing on a guy that was on AEW to Ignite, and that being the man they call Tate Mayfairs. Tateness is greatness. Who's he coming for? We have no clue yet. But we'll find out in the coming weeks for sure. But Gary Joe, it's been great as always to talk some AEW stuff. It's been a few weeks, so we've had a bit to cover off. But we'll be doing this next week, though, and we'll obviously have some more stuff for you next week. But thank you as always for coming on and from across the pond, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
You too, my friend, and everybody. Don't forget to click that notification bell. Honor. Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast is just for your viewing pleasure away.
Now, I'm going to throw it over to you to end this. Now, Dave normally does it. How good are you at Kenny Omega's ending?
Oh, I had to practice that probably.
So,
miss you, Dave.
I'll do it for Dave, right? So it's time to bid you adieu, good night, mwah, and good bye. Bang.